Alright, it seems to be working. I got away. I'll just wait for people to join and then I'll start it officially. $40K subs. Let's get some light in here. Alright, everybody's joining. Oops, wrong set of lights. There we go. Hey folks, 40,000 subscribers. And to be honest, I can't thank you guys enough. I mean, it's an honor knowing that I've got such a large fan base that, is inspired by my work and enjoys, watching my videos. So I thought I'd go live to celebrate, but I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of doing like a gaming live stream like I did last time, I thought I'd do a live showcase of my little model layout that I have, as well as some of the other stuff that I have. Just, like I said, trying something new. So, first off, I might as well show you what I got on the track already. Right here we got, I can never say the name right. I think it's Athern or Athern. Either way, it's a Conrail SDP45, number 6680. This is probably one of my favorite models that I've gotten recently. I actually got it a couple days ago at Henning's Train Store in Lansdale. Brilliant place. I definitely recommend it. I'll show you guys that it running around in a moment. And yes, it is HO scale before anybody asks. And I've got a bunch of other Conrail cars to go with it. This is all these cars here are Walters, like this gondola with a bunch of, I guess you could say, steel slabs inside. And 3 cushion box cars, although one of them's obviously different because it's an older design because of the walkway on top. And then just a random Cargill hopper on the back to stand out. But that's not all I have. I have a lot of other stuff. Oh, by the way, this is all Bachmann track, by the way. Most of it also came from Bill Henning. Here's what I like to call my display track, where I have like excess surplus stuff that I'm not using at the moment. I might as well show you guys the Lehigh Valley cars. These are very, very rare. These cost me around $10 a car as a set, but if I were to buy them individually instead of the whole set, it'd be 15 per car. So obviously I went with the whole set because these are very, very rare. All I need to find is an engine to go with them, like a Lehigh Valley steamer or a couple F units. But I couldn't find those at Hennings, so I'm probably gonna have to go to somewhere like Allentown. But you got a Railway Express agency car, a mail car. Um, Sorry, train fan. I mean, it just happened suddenly. I didn't have time to let you know. There's actually an interesting story about how they collected mail into these cars back then. I'll explain it in another video though, because a certain railroad museum does a good job at explaining. That's just a random. I guess that's like a baggage coach car, and then 2 sleepers. On the other side, they look like what you would see on the Amtrak long distance trains, like the Viewliners. Look pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure this is a dining car. It doesn't say anywhere, but it reminds me of the Strasbourg cars, particularly the Strasbourg dining car, particularly by this little window here. And this is a random CSX caboose. It's a Bachmann. It came with an engine and 2 intermodal cars. Those ones right there. And this is another new purchase. It's a UTLX tanker, but I have it off of the set because it has a problem where it'll sometimes derail on the curves that I have on the set there. It's holding up for now because it's not going anywhere. But when I was testing it earlier off camera, it kept derailing and I got so pissed at it, so I just put it up here for now. These are the intermodal cars. They came with the starter set that I got that started this whole thing. I'll show you that in a sec. And this is another new purchase, a CSX flat car, but I have it off for now just to because it doesn't match with the Conrail stuff. So, and that's not my only engine. I have these two as well. This one is the one that came with this. It came with the Bachmann starter set. They're both Bachmann, but this is the one that came with the starter set along with the intermodal cars, the CSX caboose, and this whole circular track, which was part of the set, which cost me $130. I got it at a train show in Oaks. This one here I got at. I'm trying to remember where I got this. Oh yeah, I got this at Strasbourg after the 611 excursion. And that's also where I got the Conrail stuff and that one little hopper there. So yeah, these are both Bachmann. They're both GP40s, 4409 and 6211. You can obviously notice the differences in details and logos. Like this one marks where the fire extinguishers are in the engine, and it has the newer logo. And this one has the old bold lettering like you'd see on Gevos. And then here's the back, pretty much the same, except for the logos. And yeah, that's these two engines. I kind of prefer the number board on this engine though, as you can't really see the numbering on the older one. Because I swear, this is a newer model and this one's an older one. So, ignore that, it's just a vacuum. So, over here, this is the Bachmann controller I have, that set. So I'm going to plug everything in and we'll start running around the Conrail engine. And by the way, no, this is not DCC. As you can tell by the controller, it's DC because I'm still new to the modeling hobby. I did join it early because I had a 3-rail O-scale Penzi starter set, which is in storage at my dad's house, and I wanted to get back into it, only going into HO instead, because HO is cheaper and easier to work with, and it looks more realistic than 3-rail O-scale, because I'm a realism freak. So I'm gonna put the phone down real quick, balance it out on the table leg here, and I'm going to plug everything in. Get these wires untangled. And for those of you wondering why I don't have DCC yet, like I said, I'm new, and I don't want to blow anything up yet. So, I know there's benefits with DCC over DC, but right now, I don't think I'm ready yet. In fact, one of my friends had a DCC-equipped ACS-64, number 901, but he accidentally blew it up. And also, DCC is more expensive than DC. At least that's what I think. Alright. Alright, so we're all plugged in. But I must complain about Bachmann's the wiring, because this little connector here, these things freaking suck. Sometimes if they're not put in correctly, like all the way in, they just don't work. Even if it's slightest bit loose, it just pisses me off. Alright, so we're all hooked up, so let's give it a run. Try and set the camera up here. Now, I would like to mention one reason why I consider the SDP-45 my favorite engine so far is, oh, something happened. Hold on a sec. Oh, the hopper, the rear axles of the hopper came off. How the hell did that happen? Track's fine. Probably needs a clean though. Yeah, I got grime on my finger. Oopsies. Probably take it a little bit slower this time. But anyways, as I was saying earlier, the reason why I like this engine, and it's one of my favorites right now, is because of the headlights on the way they work. Because most engines, like the Bachmann pair over there, both the front and rear headlights come on, and that's obviously unrealistic. Whilst with this one, the front headlight is on, but the rear one is off, unless I were to change direction. So, pretty cool. And another reason why I got it is because my mom's boyfriend, his father-in-law, used to work on the Erie Lackawanna before it got absorbed into until it got, absorbed into you know what. Did that hopper just come off again? Son of a chicken. It was happening yesterday. It was working fine yesterday, so I'm just going to take it off for now. I'll have to take a look at it. So yeah, my mom's boyfriend, his father-in-law used to be a brakeman for the Lackawanna, and SDP-45s like this one, they tended to be from Erie. I really wish those fans would spin. I thought I accidentally got a DCC equipped engine because I thought those would spin, and if I were to grab where the dynamic brakes are, it reveals a little coder inside of it, the little circuit board. But nope, it's DC. I've learned is as long as the box doesn't say tsunami sound, you don't have much to worry about. And I'll definitely put more stuff on the layout and change things out in a bit. I'm just going to let the Conrail run its laps. Oh yeah, and feel free to ask any questions about, like, documentaries, my hobby, and stuff like that. This is also my quietest model. Do you know who Joe is? No, I don't. I've heard of a Joe Cook, but I don't want to talk about him. What got you started in making the documentaries? It's said in some of my Q&As, especially the first one, but the real inspiration was a documentary on the Wichita Falls tornado of 1979. I watched the video and I thought, what if I did something similar, except on a train wreck, and you know the story from there. What do you mean the 3005 wreck? If you're talking about the big boy wreck, 4005, I have not actually started work on that video yet, even though it's so highly requested. But, oh well. What is the least favorite documentary you made? I would have to say it would probably be the Silverliner Fire video that has now been privated. That thing absolutely sucked. But I will make a remake, like a new and improved version, in years' time. Have you seen The Big Boy 4014? No, I haven't. Where were you ever going to do the Montparnasse derailment? Are you talking about the one where the train goes right through the... It's that famous photo of the engine just hanging out of the station? I don't know if I'll ever get to that one. Because wrecks that old in the 1800s, you're going to have a hard time finding information. Engines, date, stuff like that. Do you have an N5 car? No, I don't. In fact, SEPTA models of Soulliners and stuff are extremely rare. But there is a Bud RDC, a Reading one, at Hennings, and I'm planning the next time I get paid, which would be November 21st, I'm going to go out and get it. You know, Thunderbolt 1000 is a tornado siren. Yes, Mr. Swappy Swapper. That's why I named my channel that way, because I used to be into the siren enthusiasm, the siren, but I've since moved away. ever since the ones in my area got replaced. Have you done anything with Pennsylvania Route G1 accident? I can definitely tell which accident you're talking about. The Federal Express wreck, also known as the Great All-Time Sensational Runaway. I do plan to do that one in the future, especially considering the GG1 involved in that wreck is still around today. It's at the B&O Railroad Museum, albeit in piss poor condition. Like seriously, one of the rear one of the pantographs is like literally mangled. Can you make all 3 comb wrecks into a movie, please? That would be a nightmare to export, to be honest. Actually, no. I think it might. The video would make it a half an hour, but I guess I could make a so-called director's cut of it. The curves are tight. You might be onto something, but I can't get anything better than these curves because these are all the curves I have at the moment, and I'm very, very limited on space. Hence why it's just an oval in the. It's technically a garage, but we just use it as a family room because you got a couple game consoles over there and the giant TV. Do you want one of my kidneys or one of those? Why would I ever want a kidney from someone? Goodness me. M. White, I have not seen the 4014, and I don't think I ever will for a very, very long time. Now, speaking of this consist that I have set up, it kind of reminds me of the old Conrail locals that ran from Abrams and ran along parallel with the SEPTA tracks down to as far as Conshohocken. Those end because they had a small yard right by a Ford Street crossing. If you I actually have a DVD that actually shows the yard a little bit. I just need to find it real quick. It's hidden under all this junk somewhere. Let me just look through the stuff here. Give me a sec. Where is it? Those DVDs. My mom moved them and hide them again. Oh no, here they are. I just gotta find the right one. That's a Reading Iron Horse Ramble. Penzi. Oh, here we go. Alright. This DVD here. The SEPTA's Norristown Media Elwyn Cab Ride. If you play the Norristown clip, you'll see the old Ford Street yard by Conrail, which no longer exists. There's not even a little tidbit left. The only thing that's left of the Conrail local track that paralleled the SEPTA line is hidden in the bushes between Conshohocken and Spring Mill. And I voice chat with you over Discord. I can't do that because I'm on the phone. So, yeah. Little shout out to Railroad Video Production. Really good DVD. Oh, and yes, that's one of the toasters. And yes, this is what the Solarliner 4s looked like before ditch lights. Did you know CSX sponsors a NASCAR? I'm guessing it a lot. Who needs DVDs when you got freaking Amazon? Well, I do, because I like the idea of DVDs, and I'm too old. Do you have a Discord? Yes, there's a link to the server in the video description, along with the links to other stuff like Patron and GoFundMe. I'm going to let this set run a little bit, do a couple more laps, and then we'll change it out. If it's a toaster, then where is the level to cook the toast? Probably on the inside. Or it's probably on the back end of the cab, I don't know. Do you watch Monster House? Never heard of it. Do you have more track for you to model? I do have a couple spare curves still in their package, not counting the display track up here. But like I said, I'm limited on space. I might get a switch track that acts as like a little siding, like over here somewhere, so I can put more of this excess stuff on there, like the Lehigh Valley cars, or even use the freight cars as like a yard. But I don't know. I couldn't afford them at the moment. What's your opinion on Swedish trains? They're not bad. I'm actually part Swedish myself, actually. I'm English and Italian, but there is a hint of Swedish because we do have a bit of, because that's where the blonde hair trait comes in the family. What is your most expensive model? Probably the SDP45 here. I was about to say I call it an SD60 because of look how long it is. So, yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a closer look on this engine. It's actually a really nice angle here. I should use that as the thumbnail for the stream. And then there's the Conrail gondola. And yes, I love saying it that way. And here is the boxcars. What is your favorite locomotive from the UK? That's got to be the Intercity 125s. I just like the look of them. Open the cab window. These, I don't think these open. No, they don't. Actually, oh yeah, I see what you mean by open cab window. It's this one. Yeah, that just comes with the model. Missed seeing Conrail in the NEC. Yeah, I know. Conrail was a good railroad while it lasted. Do you have any plans to do any documentaries from Wrexham, Virginia? Perhaps. Do you like diesel trains or steam more? I like steam more. I would dynamic brake housing here to show you the circuit boards inside the engine, but it is a pain to put back on. But I will show you the modeling job they did on the RS3L up here. Yeah, how about that? In fact, all my engines I think have RS3Ls. Because look at the CSX engines. There's no way they look like they could be RS3. They could be like what do you call them? RS5. No, they wouldn't be RS5Ts. There'd be 5 diaphragms. What is your favorite and least favorite railroad, both past and present? Favorite's obviously the Penzi, and then the least favorite would probably be, I don't know, MMA. You just like those RS3Ls. Yeah, well, then again, they used to be a very common sound in Bridgeport because a lot of ex-Conrail equipment used to go through there. Not as much anymore. So now, I think I'm going to switch out the Conrail engine and put some of the CSX stuff on. And I'm going to put both of these engines on, too. To show you how these guys run. So I got to put the phone down because I got to get to work. Very careful because the 6680 is my prized jewel of the collection now. Am I gonna leave the Conrail cars on? I don't know. Nah, I might as well. Get the CSX flat and the 2 intermodal cars. Now with the CSX engines, it's basically going to be like a recreation of C746, the one CSX local that comes through my area at the butt crack of dawn. You know what? I think I'm going to put the camera right here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep the Conrail stuff because why not? Locals aren't really that small, especially 746. When it's going to Lansdale, it's usually pretty big. Put the CSX flat on. Make sure these couple up. I'm not going to use the tanker because I think the curves are too tight. I might just use that as like a background thing if I ever get a sighting. And of course, 746 never has intermodal cars, but these are the only other CSX cars I have. But I could use these intermodal cars to recreate Q158, which is a double stack. Basically, any of the double stack containers that don't need to go to Philly, you put on Q158, runs from New York, and takes the High Line into Philly Yard. I've caught it a couple times. It's not really that big of a train. It's like a couple, it's usually 1 or 2 engines, and then all the intermodal stuff. It's kind of like a very, very short 20Q, which is one of the endless intermodals I always see. And it's always double stack because threading made the wires high enough. Here's a little bit of Pennsylvania Rail Fanning 101. Do you ever wonder why, if they have to run an intermodal down any of the Pennsy lines, like through Exton, they have to be single stack, like 21E, if it ever needs to be diverted, which actually did happen a couple times. But when it comes to, let me move this boxcar. But when it comes to intermodals on the Reading lines, like 20Q or 21E through my area, when it's not diverted, they can run double stack. That's because the Reading made the wires high enough so that they won't clip the wires. Very, very effective. All right. Got most of the cars I want on. I'm not going to put the caboose on. Let's see, let's put 6211 on. Let me just move this slightly. Can you see? Yeah. Sure these are lined up. The power, though, would be correct if I were to recreate a 746, because it's usually SD40s or Jeep 40s. Just all the old EMDs that they hold in Woodburn Yard, because it runs from Woodburn to Lansdale. And since I think it's a Monday today, so they must have ran the old power at Lansdale back sometime in the middle of the night, and then used it to bring them back to Lansdale today with all the stuff they need to give to PN. All right, 6211's on. Now I gotta get the 4409 on. Now one engine could be capable of pulling this whole stuff. I'm just putting 2 on anyway, both of them, because why the heck not? And since 6211 has the older lettering, even though this is the old logo, even though it's still YN3, the newest paint job, I might run that with 6680, maybe. Alright. I don't know if I'm going to use the Lehigh Valley cars because I don't have an engine to go with them, and I need a couple parts. Some of the cars, especially the dining car, they don't have springs on the couplings, which I find very essential if you don't want the cars coming apart. One of the Conrail box cars also has this issue. You can't really see it, but yeah, that's really the best I can show you. If it opens like that, but it won't go back to the closed position like this, that tells you there's no spring, which absolutely sucks. So I have ordered a couple of couplings for these cars. They were made by an interesting company. What is it? Made in Italy. Rivarossi. That's the model company. Rivarossi. Rivarossi. That's definitely an Italian company name. I gotta put this car back on. That's good enough. You're free to ask anything, and I would also recommend, if you have any money to donate, for Super Chat, go right ahead. Alright, pretty sure we're all good to go. I put the hopper back on, and the reason why this Conrail boxcar is on the end, I put the hopper in the middle, is this boxcar also doesn't have a spring on its rear coupling, which absolutely sucks. So I definitely got to get another coupling for that. Is that a Bachmann GP35? I'll do you five numbers better, sir. GP40s. You like the GUCs, and what do you think of Leslie S5T? U-boats are pretty good. U5Cs. Oh, and this is the engine I was running earlier, for those of you that just joined. Drove an EMD loco. I haven't driven any locomotive yet. I've just done it in simulators. The training simulators they have at SEPTA. Alright, here we go. We're about to roll these out. You're going to see what I'm talking about, what I was talking earlier about the headlight control of these engines. Wait, hold on, I don't think 4409's lined up right. Because it looked like it tried to move, but... Yep, it wasn't on right. The rear trucks weren't on. Whoops. Oh well, it happens. HO, I will admit, is a pain to rail to put on your track, but N scale is even worse when it comes to putting on the track. You have to get special re-railers if you have a derailment. So it absolutely sucks. Do you like the GG1? It's my mom's favorite loco. Yeah, of course I do. Here we go. And you can see the rear headlights are on 4409, and so it is on 6211. CSX is awesome. They do. One thing I like about CSX is the power they put on the oil trains. They're very kind about that. Do you work at SEPTA? No, I don't. I might in the future. This is also one of the longest trains I can assemble on my layout. Put it on top speed? No, because then I'd have a burned out wreck. My dad was a CSX engineer. Ooh, cool. What's your opinion, CSX or NS? Definitely NS. Even though I'm running CSX stuff right now. There's a new flat car. Well, it's not really a flat car. They call it a certain something flat car. And the hopper's staying on the track, so I think putting it on the middle... I guess I just can't put it on the end of a train, otherwise it keeps falling off. That might actually be the problem with the tanker car. I don't know, I might test that. Have you ever heard of the Indiana Railroad? No, I haven't. And of course, the question I was expecting, what's the next crash documentary going to be about? It's not really going to be a crash, but it's going to be about a certain inferno. That's you. I'm going to set up over here. Can you do full stick? I don't know what you mean by full stick. If you mean full power, I'm not going to do that. I really want to keep the engines on this kind of a speed because they feel more comfortable this way. Do you watch Fairy Tale? No, I haven't. Make a crash. I personally don't want to simulate a crash on here. Except it just happened right in freaking front of me because of that stupid hopper. I knew that was going to happen. That's another... I think that was another reason. It's just... Sometimes I was taking it a little too fast. Oh, well. And, yep, I can already tell the chat's exploding from that. Might be also this section of track here. I don't know. Whatever. Get this all reassembled. Curve is definitely not too tight for this hopper because I've used it already in the past and it worked perfectly fine. Excuse me. At least it didn't cause a short circuit on the layout, because I've heard with these newer controllers, if you have a derailment, it basically knocks out the whole circuit on the track, which absolutely pisses a lot of people off. But it's CSX, so that's probably another reason why that happened. I'm going to take this a little bit slower now. Thankfully, the Lehigh Valley cars don't have any problems either, except for the couplings. Lionel is very prone to short circuit when derailed. I don't think Lionel makes anything HO, if I'm correct. Nope, it's just that one crack. Hold on. Oh, the couplings held together when that happened. You know what? I'm just gonna take this stupid hopper off because I think that's what's giving me problems. I'll probably have to talk to Henning about this to see what's going on. I also heard it might be a coupling height gauge, but I don't know. Alright, so I took the hopper off because I think it just needs, I'm gonna have to take a look at it after this video. But it was working perfectly fine. It never derailed like that before. But they're most famous for O gauge. Alright. What's better, CN or CP? Definitely CN, because CP's trying to merge with CSX again. And it ain't happening. I don't know. Probably next year for the big boy video. Why not put the caboose at the end? That's usually because CSX locals, including 746, don't really have cabooses on the back. And plus, I really don't feel like putting it on. How long does it take to find information about these wrecks? Definitely definitely takes a long time. Especially for the older stuff. So. Do you like Union Pacific 5511? I don't even know what that is. This could also be a simulation of another local that uses 746's power and usually runs right after 746 returns to Woodburn, CSXC 770, if I'm correct. What is it with CSX with the number 7 and the letter C? I don't know. I'm going to bring the models here to a stop so we can get a much closer look at both engines. So here's the 4409. Just a little hair on the nose. There's the horn. Mind you, it looks like an RS3L, but I don't know with that design. There's less details on these Bachmann engines compared to the Athern or Athern. I can never pronounce the company name. But this is the one that I got separate from Strasbourg, along with the Conrail stuff. 6211 here. It's the engine that pretty much started it all. For the person that just asked which state I live in Pennsylvania, obviously. This is the unit that I basically got with the starter set, the little circle track that I have on the table up there. Yeah, it was the first engine I got. Came with these intermodal cars and that caboose I showed you. Here's the side of it. You can sort of see the designation as a GP40. These are both, I looked up the real 4409 and 6211. They're both GP40-2s now. However, they do utilize the paint the paint jobs that are shown on my models, including the logos. So they're definitely accurate. Same with the 6680, which I don't know what happened to that engine after retirement. Probably got scrapped. I kind of bought this engine, the SDP45, because they're not, I'm pretty sure this model is hard to find. I don't know, but it was This engine I think was around $178 when I got it. So it's definitely the most expensive because this one here, 4409 was around $90, and I imagine 6211 is probably priced around the same as 4409 if I were to buy the engine separate. What's your opinion? New York Central, New Haven, or the Pennsy? What kind of question is that? Anytime you say Pennsy or another railroad, it's gonna be Pennsy. Excuse me. You know what I might do, just for giggles? It won't look It won't look accurate, but I might as well show you guys these coaches in action. Um. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna simulate the best ability. The excursions I've been riding recently, especially for Founders Day. So once again, I gotta put the camera down. I'm gonna get rid of all the freight cars. And I'm gonna show you these coaches with the engines I have, unfortunately, because I do not have a Lehigh Valley engine to go with the coaches. And thankfully the coaches don't have this derail issue that two of my freight cars have, the hopper and that tanker that I'm not going to use. I'm going to pick up 6211 and move it aside. I'm going to need it in a moment. And I'm going to pull these coaches off the display track one by one. Show you them moving around. The table here. There we go. I swear these Lehigh Valley coaches are basically simulating a the, what do you call it? The one Lehigh Valley Black Diamond, like in the 50s or something. Because why else would you have two sleepers, a dining car, and what looks like a baggage car and everything else? How long have you had the locos? Not very long. This engine I've had for probably the longest, probably like 5 or 6 months. This one I've had for just 2 months, and this engine's brand new. So, put the camera over here so I can put the coaches on, and there's a certain order that I put them in. Railway Express Agency goes first. These ones are a very big pain in the butt to rail. Let me just put it that way. But they do work. Alright, the first truck's on. Now I gotta get the rear ones on. Hopefully you're seeing the car getting put on and not my big fat head. Couplings surprisingly work perfect with the Bachmann and Walters cars, which is interesting. But the Ather and stuff has a different coupling, but it still works. Ignore the background noise. Ugh. Now the next one is the mail car, the one with the little catcher on the side. Like I said, there is another video that I'll upload that'll explain how that actually works. How they catch the mail from the little posts they have along the tracks or at stations. It's really cool. I might as well just tell you. Basically, the little crane arm swings open outside the door. They'll have like the mail on like a little pole just sticking there, and then they'll have like a guy working inside behind the little catcher here, and they'll just catch the mail bag and bring it right into the car. It's really, really cool. They don't do that no more because, one, they don't use mail on passenger trains anymore, and two, everybody is more used to emails rather than post, even though I order a lot of stuff in the mail. But it's all, everybody just does it online, which sucks. I really prefer the old method because I'm such a, vintage guy. You know what? I might as well show you the detail they've did on these cars, like the brake shoes. Actually, really, really good. These are old coaches, but surprisingly, because of how rare they are, I thought I'd have to pay like over $200 for them. For the whole set, it was just $60. So yeah. All right, this sleeper has no spring on one end. What about this one? Oh, it's got springs on each end, so I'll put this one on first. Let me just move the phone so you can see it. And after I show you these coaches moving around, I'm gonna go up to my room. I'll show you guys what that looks like, even though it's a complete mess. The reason why I don't have this set in my room, and it's in the garage here, is because, like I said, space. Ugh. And it's offset from the table just so it doesn't get stepped on, because a lot of people come through the garage, like my mom when she's coming home from work, and even I come through here when I come home from a railfan trip. Alright, the coupling's in. Now I'm going to get the other sleeper. I don't know if I'm missing any cars from this set, but because I don't see any ordinary coaches that was in the set, but I'm pretty sure this is the whole set. But if anyone's an expert on these Riverosi cars, you can let me know. Is this the one with the spring on the end? Yes, it is. And now I gotta get the dining car, which does not have any spring whatsoever on the couplings. At least for now. I might make an update video on when I finally get the new couplings for it as well. Because I also have an eraser in the mail. What do you call them? Bright Boys? Where you basically scrape them along the track so it picks up all the crud. Like, you know, this kind of... You can see it. Ugh. Nasty stuff. I also got to clean the wheels of the engines, especially the 6211, because that's the one I've had for the longest amount of time, and it's never had its wheels cleaned in its whole life, so I gotta definitely work on that. Is this coupling gonna come loose if it goes on curves? Hoping not, because it has no spring. If it does, I'll just flip this sleeper around. Now I'm going to get 6211 to put on the other end, because why not? Remake kind of like an excursion set. You could just pretend the Lehigh Valley cars are New Hope or something. Imagine if this was an actual set that he did for Founders Day, only instead of Jeep 40s, they were the SD60s that PN just got, which were 8701 and 8711. So yeah, this is the kind of way the PN and New Hope would run their excursions for Founders Day. It's just one engine on each end. And I am going to run it in both directions. And yeah. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to run it one way, and then I'm going to run it the other way. Although I don't think I'll run it. Yeah, just what I thought. The coupling came out. See, this is why you need springs on your coupling, because as soon as it moves, it's going to separate if it doesn't have a spring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this sleeper around. At least, I think. Hold on. Yeah, I'm just going to flip this sleeper around real quick, and then I'll, that should hopefully fix it. I think it's also because the other engine's pushing on the back, so it makes the coupling more loose. It's nothing to do with coupling gauge or anything, it's just these couplings don't have springs. Alright, hopefully the spring will lock it in. There we go. That should work. There we go. It's a tight fit. Rotate device, it is rotated. It's a tight fit, but it should work this time. If not, I'll take the 6211 off and just run it with the 4409. Have you ever took the Bachman tour on the Erie Avenue in Philly? No, actually. Yep, everything's working pretty good. I just need to sort out this wobble here that sometimes happens. Some of the cars wobble on this joint here, but that's okay. No Nut November. Ugh. It's unrealistic, but, you know, it's pretty cool to watch, regardless. Over to the other side of the layout. There's all the stuff I've run earlier. Why do you hate dogs? Whoever just commented that. Just because of their bark, even I get annoyed by that, but it's nothing to hate them over. They're adorable. I eat hogs. Make a bigger layout. I know, look, I'm limited on budget and space. That's why the layout is literally just an oval. So, I'm sorry. The Two Gardens wreck. I don't know if I might, but we'll see. Because, as we all know, the documentaries take a lot of space, or take a lot of time, actually. Alright. I don't plan to make the stream that much longer, so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this to a gentle stop. And now we're going to change it from watching a model layout to a little tour of my room. So I'm going to cover the camera and I'm going to be right back. Alright. Alright, here we go. So starting off, got this R3 media sign. It's actually a media and Chicane one. This is the real sign SEPTA used to use from 1984 to 2010, when they got rid of the R classification. Here's the other side of it. And you gotta flip it over vertically, because when you do it horizontal, it comes out as upside down. So, yep. And you can tell it's real because it's made out of the glass reinforced plastic that they have. And it's also pretty sturdy, so you could use it like a freaking bat. And it also has this little loophole in it. I don't know what that's about. And I gotta put this on to where it's leaning. I gotta probably put the camera down again, because if I slam the door, it falls right on the floor, makes a really loud bang, scares the hell out of everybody, and yeah. So that's that. Now here's two SEPTA maps. This is the one for regional rail and other rail transit, and this is one of the Broad Street line. This probably came out of one of the Silver Liners, and then this one came out of one of the subway cars on the Broad Street. Now you're probably wondering how I got this stuff. Well, first off, that regional rail sign came from Rail Rodeo 2017. These two came from 2018, because if you'll look right here, that's the that's the Sports and Entertainment Complex station. I think it goes right by the football stadium there, or I forget if it's baseball or not. I don't care. I'm not into sports, but it used to be owned by AT&T. They used to own the branding rights to the station, but then they changed it to its current sponsor, NRG. I believe that's the company. Yeah, NRG. So it's no longer called AT&T anymore. So they had to get rid of these old maps and replace them. So that's how I got it. This one's it says right here, SEPTA current as of September 2014. And the Broad Street map is also 2014. And like I said, how I got this one, same reason, AT&T. But now it's NRG. I don't even know what NRG even is. And for those of you wondering, there's my home station, Norristown Transportation Center. What do I think of the Leslie S5T? It's a pretty nice horn. There's the slow speed line. This is Bryn Mawr right here, and one of my favorite spots to Railfan. You got the trolley routes here, 101 and 102. And you got the rest of them. The MFL, Market Frankfurt line, better known as just the L. And then there's the Broad Street. And here is, they even have Patco on here, which even though it's not a SEPTA service, it's still in the Philadelphia area anyway, so it's helpful to know, because you can also get connections, even if you got to pay a separate fare. And then here's the Broad Street map. There's Fern Rock Transportation Center, where the rail rodeo is always held. What's my opinion on the ALP 44? They're alright. I prefer the O variant because that was the only reliable model. So that's the maps. These two came from Rail Rodeo 2018. They were $13 each, which is pretty cheap. I forget how much I paid for the sign here. I have another real one over in front of my closet door. Only this one's R8 Fox Chase and Chestnut Hill West. It's got some weird plastic wrapping on the front of it. I don't know what that's about. But once again, it's a real one because it's solid. And it also has the there. Which, like I said, I don't know what that's about. So, that's that. What? I'm busy. Alright, I'll be down in a minute. Jeez. And then over here, a little bumper sticker here. Another crazy frequentologist out chasing trains. I plan to put this on the back of my car in a minute, as soon as I get my license, which will be in a couple days. And there's one of the old subway signs, Pattison. It's one of the old stations that used to be on the line. And here's the AT&T sign. This is definitely a newer model. I plan to put that Paddington sign on the wall somewhere, but unfortunately, I need to find some time to do it. Like, I gotta get some nails. The AT&T one I can't put up because some of the little loopholes where you would hammer them in, you can see they're broken off. So whatever. Some old posters up here. Hellcat and Hell's Bell. Just because of why not. Oh, you notice the wooden stuff here. The Brio F unit from Santa Fe. And some of the rare Sodor stuff. These are very, very rare and hard to find. This is what I grew up on. Not that Fortnite crap and whatever you kids in the 2010s grew up with. No, I grew up with this stuff. And Take-Along. I got a Boco model somewhere, but that's at my dad's house. And if you'll excuse me, I gotta be right back. I gotta get my dinner real quick. Give me a sec. Alright, I am back. Sorry that took a while. I gotta put this somewhere. Holy crap. Gosh, this place is a mess. My freaking room, jeez. Oops. There you go. So this is my dinner. It's pasta with cheese sauce. This is one of my cameras I use. It's a PowerShot SX230. I have the door left open on it because I dropped it once at, where was I? It was when I was chasing Q409 with 911, 1776, and 3194. The bezel lifted on the LCD here. You can't really see it. So sometimes this little flap for the card and the door, it'll jam. See? I can't even... no, it's working now, but... Yeah. This is one of the cameras that I use. I use it for photos mainly now. Lots of tank models from old toy sets that I had long ago. I definitely want to repaint these in the future to look more realistic, especially the T-34 85. It's an old canteen that I used on some of my trips. That's actually the PowerShot's battery. I just leave it plugged in to keep it fully charged. And speaking of cameras, this is my main camera. Let's get some light in here. This is a Canon Vixia HF R800. These cameras are absolutely amazing. I mean, the mic system is questionable when it comes to wind noise, but these things are amazing. I had an R700 before, but I've lost it, along with a lot of footage from Norristown, but oh well. And here's my scanner. This is what you hear in the background of a lot of my videos. It's a Bearcat 75 XLT. And every time I power it on, it, hold on a sec. No, I don't want that. Stupid thing. Give me a sec. Every time I powered it on, it always sets to 160-800, which is the Norfolk Southern Harrisburg East dispatch. Covers my area all the way up to terminal. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. But it only reaches as far out as Royersford before the signal gets faded. And if I were to stand on top of the Norristown parking garage, I could hear the defect detector at milepost 24.5, but usually I don't. Seems like it's pretty quiet right now, so all the trains in my area, like H82 and stuff, are all settled down. So that means the only other traffic we would be hearing is 17G in a couple hours, which is a manifest to Enola. Here's a little pamphlet I got from Rail Rodeo this year. There will be a video on it coming up. It's basically about the ACES 64. And before anybody asks, no, I will not cover the ACES 64 for engines of SEPTA. They're too recent. We've only had them for probably just over a year in service. They have no history behind them yet, so I don't plan to make an episode on them. Just because Amtrak guy did doesn't mean I will. So, yeah. Here's another camera. That's just a Polaroid Walmart camera. You see these everywhere. This was like $10. It's a piece of junk. Not like this thing where it was 200. So I only use that as a backup in case I never charge the power shot. Yeah. Oh, and that's another spare charger for the Canon right here. I have the plug. I already have the charger that came with it right here. It's not doing anything yet, but yeah, that's that. This is my headset that I use for narration. It's a crappy Cyber Acoustics piece of junk, but it does get the job done, and it does have a little windscreen on it, so we'll probably wait until 30 years later when a new locomotive breed replaces the A64. Yeah, that's for Amtrak, but for SEPTA, heaven knows how long they're going to hold on to these things. What is my dream car? Ooh, that's an interesting question. I would have to say probably a Ferrari Enzo from 2002. Those things are amazing. This is an old for those of you that wonder which high school I went to, it was Methacton. For those of you that haven't seen my Danny in the Hall videos. This came from the first prom I ever went to with my girlfriend. One of the best times I've ever had in my life. Oh, and over here is where the magic happens. It's my old, shoddy Dell Latitude 5420 that runs Windows 8.1. This is the back. This is basically the desktop. It changes once in a while to different photos, and it's currently set on an old photo at 30th Street Station at Penn Coach Yard. You know, they got the P40s and E60s and EM7s. And if anybody owns this photo, you know, copyrighted, I don't mean to be a copyright infringer. This is just for a desktop. I'm not sharing it publicly, you know, like anything like that, even though I'm doing it in a live stream, but I just thought it looked cool. So yeah, this is where the magic happens, and this is the editing system I use, Adobe Premiere Pro. Very great system. And speaking of the E60, Rob Stewart, I do like the E60 very much, even though they were technically failures. And there's my game, World Tanks Blitz, and a bunch of other random crap. Yep, I do have Spotify. I do have the premium version, though. Here's something I thought I'd show you that's pretty interesting I have in my room. This is my mom's boyfriend. I'm going to cover up his name for privacy. This is an award he got for 15 years of safe service. In other words, not screwing up. So you got all the old vehicles on here. The current market Frankfurt cars. Now for the bus foamers, because I know a lot of my users that watch my videos are into buses. They can probably tell me what these older buses are. I've never seen them before. And here's one of the Kawasaki trolleys. And there's the signatures of the two chairmen, the chairman and the general manager, Joseph M. Casey, and we all know who's the current general manager at SEPTA. However, the chairman is still Pasquale. He would probably be called Pat for short. I thought I'd show you that. It's an interesting little thing. He has another award that he got when he retired after 30 years of service. Speaking of SEPTA, here's another little booklet about building the future. Basically, it's talking about the progress SEPTA's made. And I'm going to turn it to the page you guys are most interested in. Here you go. The new trestle bridge on the Media Elwyn with a bunch of Fords going over it. The new buses they've been getting. There's how the dispatch works. I believe this is at C-Tech. Now I'm going to turn all the way. There you go. The inaugural run of the ACS 64. This was at Chestnut Hill East. I wasn't here for this, sadly, but Tony's Amtrak train videos got a video of this banner the banner cutting. In fact, that's actually used in my 8EM7 video. I want to thank him for that because that was a rare occurrence. Here's another thing, though. Ever since these things came into service, this is all SEPTA talks about now, like rail rodeo and stuff. It's like, yeah, look at this engine, it's so great. And it is great, I'll give it that, but it does get a little excessive. Alright, now here's some of the projects SEPTA's looking forward to. This is what I'm waiting for, the KOP extension for the high-speed line. If I'm correct, they'll start at Hughes Park, because they won't start from Norristown because there's no room. But they'll start at Hughes Park and then work all the way into the King of Prussia Mall. In fact, there's the mall right there. And anyone that lives in the area, in my part of Pennsylvania, we can all agree, freaking King of Prussia is just, it's like Los Angeles of the East Coast. It's a mess. The King of Prussia Mall is actually the biggest mall by shop space in the whole United States. Actually, it's a real record. Look it up. And I've driven in KOP myself when I was on my permit. It sucks. It really does suck. It's a lot of chaos, lots of traffic, congestion. Even SEPTA 99 from Norristown, which I use to get to Bridgeport, it goes through here. It's a nightmare. So I can't wait for this. This is the project I'm looking forward to. Here's that concept art. If you watched my Q&A part 2, this is the concept art I was showing. This is just concept art for now. I have no idea when they're coming. I don't know who's making them. I just don't know anything, alright? So, yeah. Because right now, we're waiting on these things, the new double-deckers from CRRC. We were supposed to get them in early 2020, in January 2020, but they pushed it back to June, like in the middle of the month, because the Chinese screwed up the welding on these cars. And you also have the tax war going on between US and China, so that doesn't help. We could have gotten Bud double-deckers, but apparently these were the only ones that could fit. And here's 15th Street, which is going to be overhauled on the L. And there's a photo of the wire work at North Philly. You can see the Arrow 2 over here. And that's really about it for this book. Except, yeah, this was also from my mom's boyfriend. He got this at the gift shop, 1234 Market. And over here, right next to it, is Trains magazine on. This is probably my favorite magazine I've ever gotten, because here's the thing: if you some of you rail fans outside of Pennsylvania, if you ever wanted a guide on how to rail fan Pennsylvania, you gotta get this magazine. It is perfect. It tells you pretty much about everything. Let me just turn to the exact page where it starts. Here we go. Right here, we've got the Derby Diamond, as it's called, where you got the trolleys on one set of tracks and the Philly sub on another. Even though it's rare to find diamonds, especially ones that cross trolley tracks, you know, because the trolley tracks are like the rare Pennsylvania gauge that's like 5 feet. Do not rail fan here unless you're with a group, because Derby is one of the worst suburbs of Philly. And here's a photo in Telford with Tigger and an East Penn U-boat, because PN and East Penn interchange with each other. And here's a little map of all the tracks in Pennsylvania. You can already tell by the key, there's not only a lot of Norfolk Southern trackage, there's a lot of short lines in the area. I live somewhere around here in the tracks, because I'm pretty sure this little CSX sliver here is the Stony Creek branch. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. And then we even get Canadian National in Pennsylvania, but you'd have to go to areas like Erie, all the way into Pittsburgh. However, Canadian National made a deal with CSX recently to ship intermodal traffic from Canada, like the Quebec area, to New York and eventually Philly. However, they just interchange cars and give it to Q158. They don't keep the power, which sucks because I would love to see CN in Philly. Oh well. Um. So yeah, that's the map there. And yes, we, like I said, we get a lot of Norfolk Southern. And here's Amtrak. You got the Keystone Corridor here, and here's the sliver of the Northeast Corridor. So there you go. And of course, it mentions Strasbourg, the oldest horse railroad in the world, or at least in the United States, I think. You got 90 here with the position signal, J Tower, and AEM 7915 and 4800 old rivets, the first GG1 ever produced. I did go to Strasbourg recently, obviously, to see 611. I do have a video on the museum coming up. I'm not going to reveal any more about it, so you'll see. And here's Reading and Northern 425, because I know a lot of people have been to the Reading and Northern and know that engine. It's actually a really cool shot right here, the old trestle. And then here's the Lackawanna units. I believe these are the one at Steamtown. Delaware Water Gap, PA. Yeah, it's Steamtown. Thought so. And there's the, I forget which trestle this is. I've seen a video of 1223 and 7002 on it. Oh, and it wouldn't be a Pennsylvania guide without Horseshoe Curve. And I seriously need to get here one day. I mean, come on. I only been there to see 425, but I didn't get to ride on it. Nah. Well, at least you've seen it. I haven't. But yeah, I definitely got to go to Horseshoe Curve. That's like a dream. So that's that magazine. Over here, on top of these packages, is my SEPTA vest. I actually have two of them. This one was given by my mom, given to me by someone at SEPTA. And I've worn this only twice on two railfan trips. One was at Abrams Yard, so the crew members could see where I was when I was railfanning there, because it is an active yard. And the other time was when I was at 30th Street waiting for Q409. And this is the red Bluetooth headset you always see me wearing. In fact, speaking of which, if anyone's picked up the latest issue of Rail Pace and they find the article around Lansdale Founders Day, particularly the Stony Creek run, keep an eye out, because I actually made it in one of the photos, along with the squad. Now over here is the only souvenir I got from the 611 event, this pin for the best steam locomotive in the world, 3750. Changed my mind, but yeah, still in the packaging because I got too lazy. And over here, under all these other magazines, like this one on the Super Bowl Saturday trolley runs that they do, it's like a special excursion, even on old trolley tracks. They did. This is when they. This was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, by the way. Yay! And then here's another one about the EMD demonstrators, including one on the U-25Bs. And now these two catalogs, railroad catalogs. Remember some of my videos of railfan in Bridgeport and the crossing in particular, Depot Street, one with an E-bell and a mechanical. Right by there, there's a Depot Street bar, and the bar owner is also a railfan. And when he spotted me when I was trying to catch 8103 on 39G, I lost the footage of that, sadly. He gave me this booklet under here, and another time, I forget when it was, he gave me these two things. I like this one more because of, look what's on the thumbnail, the front, 1361. Is the chat quiet, or is it just me? But anyways, so that's what these are. Now this newspaper here, it actually has talk about SEPTA preparing for PTC, because let's not forget, SEPTA was one of the very first railroads to get PTC fully installed. Jesus, that's a mess. Pennsylvania happened more often than not. Wow. You know what? I think I gotta do a video on this. This looks pretty interesting. Jeez. And that's on the Lehigh Valley, too. That must have been a very big mess to clean up. Oh, wow. Oof. Yikes. That's a lot of lost anthracite coal, which is sacred back then. Ah, the new Viewliners. The Viewliner Diners, as you call them. Let me see if I can find the SEPTA article real quick. Where is it? The one about PC. There it is. Here we go. So, boom. That's the cab of Cylinder 4401. There's your PTC board. This is... Oh, I know where this is. This is along my line. It's right after East Falls. And it's right between East Falls and Allegheny stations. Took me a while to realize it, because I can tell, because look at the bridge here and these buildings. That's usually how I can tell. At least that's what I think it is. Here's one of the newer signals that they have. They had to install these after Roslyn on all the X-Reading lines and the Media Elwyn. Here's your board. And this is the West Trenton line, by the way. You can tell by that oil train in the background. Here's a little idea on how PTC works, as well as ATC. They're pretty much the same. Give you a little while to read that. Pretty cool. Alright, that's that. Now let's get to what I really wanted to show you. This is what the bar owner gave me when I was trying to catch 8103. It's an old Reading booklet, a rare one from 1958, giving you the history of the Reading Railroad. I've only seen one other copy of this at a train show in Oaks, which is in the area where I live. And I remember it was just after K38 passed. He gave me this and said he had a lot of train-related stuff in his bar. So while waiting for 8103, I was literally just sitting here reading this booklet, and you should have seen my eyes. Because as much as I love the Pennsy, it was the Reading that made my area possible. And yes, this book is indeed 61 years old. And look at this. Look at these historic photos here. This is like a gold. I literally thought I struck gold. You can see the old blue liners back there. The old signals, semaphores even. Mind you, most of the Reading tracks in the area now, where I live, are sadly gone. Now, a lot of the photos got cut out, unfortunately, so I'm looking for another copy. But, you know what? If I ever were to do an Engines of the Reading, this would be a good source. And here's some of the engines that everybody loves. Reading 2100, the prototype T1. I can't wait to see this thing in operation. The G-Class Pacifics, which are all extinct. And this is an F3, but the Reading like to call these DF1s. I guess it means Diesel Freight 1, pretty much. And then over here is an Alco RS1. We already know what RS stands for, Road Switcher 1. You may think it's an RS3, it's not. And over here is a Fairbanks Morse Trainmaster. These were very rare. I know the Reading definitely had a couple of them. And they also weren't very reliable. Probably why they weren't so popular. You got all the different freight cars. There's another F unit. All the coaches. Oh, and let's not forget the blue liners. man. It's hard to imagine one of these is still on SEPTA property, except it's all faded, and it used to be part of the wire train. Now I'm going to turn to the last... Oh, here's Port Richmond Yard. I wonder if it's still in service. But it definitely was a big hubbub. Stainless steel passenger cars for a South American railroad are typical of the heavy lifts. Ooh, wow. Alright, now I'm going to turn to the back to show you guys... Oh, and this is what they thought the future of railroading would be like. Remote dispatching. I mean, they weren't 100% wrong. Because that's how, you know... Excuse me. That's how yards work now. Now, here's a list of Reading Railroad's first. Some of these will be pretty interesting to some people. Reading 2100 or 1361? I'd have to go with 1361. But anyways, 1832, the old Ironsides. It was the first Matthias Baldwin locomotive being in operation over the Philadelphia, Germantown, and Norristown Railroad, which was a predecessor to the Reading. Yes, that went through my area. The first, in 1833, they had the regular transportation of anthracite by steam. It was along the Little Schuylkill Railroad. They were the first to own a 10-wheel locomotive, a 460 named the Chesapeake. It was constructed by the Norris Locomotive Works. Oh, I wonder what that was. That was in 1847. They were the first railroad in the U.S. to transport 1 million tons a year. They had the first armored car. Reading engineer Rufus Wilder designed the car to aid in the defense of Washington during the Civil War. So, yeah, the Reading basically protected our freedom as well. The largest corporation in the world in 1871, after affiliation with the Philadelphia and Reading Coal and Ironside Company. They owned the first Camelback locomotive in 1877, manufactured by John E. Wooten. It was number 412. It obviously doesn't survive. Now, here's the most interesting fact, in my opinion. You ever heard of the phrase, stop, look, and listen? Which is the phrase of the Operation Lifesaver? Well, basically, Operation Lifesaver borrowed it from the Reading in 1884. See? They were also the first railroad in Pennsylvania and the second in the United States to purchase a diesel locomotive. So they had an edge over the Pennsy. That's kind of interesting. They were the first Eastern Railroad to announce plans for the streamlined train, which in this case was the Crusader. That ran between Reading Terminal and Philly all the way to New Jersey, if I'm right. First railroad in the U.S. to achieve a regularly scheduled mile-a-minute run on its high-speed line from Philly to New York. First railroad to use space radio for traffic control. Service was installed on an experimental basis at Wayne Junction in 1945. That's really cool. And you got your different gauges. Gauges right here. Or at least the height of the rails. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, this is definitely one of my the prized railroad memorabilia I've ever had in my collection. Is just, oh man, I mean, I definitely want to get a second copy of these due to the cutout parts, like over here, in its rough condition and stains. But other than that, this right here is gold, especially for Philly rail fans like myself. And well, let's see what other interesting junk I have in my room. Oh, I didn't show you these signs. These are the reproduction model signs that they sell at SEPTA's headquarters at 1234 Market. You can tell they're reproduction because, I'll show you in a minute. This is a Kingwood sign, however, it's got some chips in it because at my mom's older house, before we moved into this one, it got caught in the window, and the gas closed the window, and it fell, and it broke a little bit, but that was my fault. Pull it out. There it is, Norristown and Kingwood. It's hard to imagine, since the Kingwood line is a single car. They ran it as single cars back then, when SEPTA took over service. That meant they had to run single cars in Norristown. There's no way in hell they would be able to achieve that today. Because the Norristown line, from my experience, is very, very crowded. That was also back then when Norristown wasn't a dump. I have it facing toward the Norristown, facing upright, facing toward the street, so anybody passing by, it'd be like, yo, what's up, man? And here's another reproduction sign. This one's a Paoli and Glenside sign, and you can tell it's a reproduction because it's made out of cheap plastic, and it makes that weird noise when you shake it. Pretty funny. I'm going to show you how I slide it through the window, through these little gaps. My parents get annoyed that I put these up like this, but I don't care. It's cool. Excuse me. Jack Link beer mug, even though I don't drink beer. I just use it as like a stuff to store stuff. They make the best beef jerky in the world. Anyway, I think I showed you this bumper sticker here. This is going to go on my car in the future. SEPTA's now cheap. No, they're not. No, they're not. But they do have, the only reason they have these reproduction signs, because, you know, a lot of the real ones like these are very hard to find. But you definitely can get these at the SEPTA headquarters. These two and these two signs all came from Rail Rodeo 2017. Those two maps came from 2018, and then this came from 2019. As I've already showed you that. I also did, but I didn't show this. Because I'm such a SEPTA foamer, I have a mouse pad from SEPTA. And I also have this really cheap Logitech gaming mouse. Logitech sucks with their products, but this works anyway. So, yeah. Oh, it's now showing the Market Frankfurt line cars, the M4, if I'm right. Nice. Why is it making that weird line effect on the screen? That's weird. Here's my copy of the Book of Mormon, because I am a Mormon after all. Another testament of Jesus Christ. But no, I am not a religious freak. What is going on Discord? I don't even want to look. Oh, and this right here is a little, I got this from King of Prussia Mall. I thought it looked funny. I love Bandit, because Bandit was my old dog. She passed away a couple days ago. So I have this here just to remember her. Probably going to move it downstairs, though. But, yeah. I also have a couple schedules and receipts here. Like one of the slow speed line, because obviously I need those. Now, for you car enthusiasts, I know I have a couple people that are interested in cars. I got some vintage car ads here. Like this one on a Buick from 1941. This one on a 1954 Ford. I don't know which Ford that is. I know there's some experts in the comments probably. Over here we've got a 1954 Packard Clipper. America's newest medium-priced car. Kind of looks like a Hudson Hornet from the front, doesn't it? And here's one of a 1955 Ford Fairlane Victoria. I used to be into cars, believe it or not, when I was little. Not as much anymore, but I kept these ads up here because I love vintage cars. Not my vintage! That's funny. Now look at this thing here. This was originally my mom's boyfriend's. He got this from his wife before she passed away. They're like literally made out of crystals. They're very fragile though. In fact, one part of the coach broke off, I think, but gotta be real careful with these. Yeah. I should show these off to my girlfriend at some point. Alright. That's pretty much everything I can show in my my room, or at least anything I wanted to show. But anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap up the stream now because almost getting over 2 hours and I don't really have anything else to do. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. You guys make sure you have a nice day. I gotta make sure you want to stop dreaming. Yes. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, guys.